Hi, welcome to Eat Well Be Well. Today I'm baking a white chocolate and vanilla cheesecake. Yes, that's right, baking. It's a baked cheesecake. But I have a confession to make. My cheesecakes aren't technically cheesecakes because they're not as light and airy as a traditional one. However, mine is heavier and richer, but that makes it taste so good. So let's have a wee look at the ingredients and let's get started. You can get any type of soft cheese, yogurt, chocolate and biscuits as you want. But I went to Aldi today and I got all this, bar the eggs which I already had, for less than €5. At this stage, try and leave the soft cheese, yogurt and chocolate out from the fridge for about half an hour. This just makes it easier to melt and bind everything together. So I'm going to be putting my cheesecake in one of these. This is a springform baking tin, or cake tin, whatever you want to call it. It just means that the bottom of it is removable, so it just makes things handier when you're trying to serve the cheesecake. I also have this. Ooh. It's a handheld blender and it cost me about €10. It just means that things are made easier for if you're making smoothies or soups, or in this case whisking in an egg into things. So yeah, this is about €10 and the cake tin's about €5, so if you wanted to go out and buy them you could do that too. And I have one of these. It's a freezer bag. That's where I'm going to be putting the biscuits in and crushing them all up so they're like breadcrumbs. So these are really handy too for when you're storing things away into the freezer because they just sit like that. So they might be something you'd want to like invest in, like the cake tin and the handheld blender. But if you don't have them, if you just have a normal cake tin and a fork, that would be grand too. You'd be grand. Preheat your oven to 150 degrees. That should be about it. This is my favourite part. You want to put the whole packet of biscuits into your bag and then you want to crush them. If you have a rolling pin, that's great. I don't. I have a wooden spoon, so I'm going to beat them within an inch of their lives until they resemble breadcrumbs. I've greased up the tin and melted the butter in the microwave so I can add all the biscuits and the butter now. Once the biscuit and the butter is all mixed, just press it down and flatten it down so that you've got a lovely buttery biscuit base. To make the soft cheese mixture, you're going to add one egg in at a time and you just whisk it for long enough so you don't see the egg anymore. It doesn't look like much now, but trust me, it'll taste really good. You can just leave that to the side while we do the next part. Break up your white chocolate and melt it over a pot of boiling water. If your bowls are too small for your pots like mine is, you can put a sieve between them to separate them. Now that that's all melted, you can add in your yogurt. And make sure to stir this all thoroughly until it's all blended and melted. Pour that into your soft cheese mixture and stir it thoroughly until it's all blended. And now add that mixture into your base. When you have it all in, you can just tap the surface to get rid of any air bubbles. But if you can't get rid of them all, that's grand too, don't worry about it. And put that into the oven for 45 minutes. 45 minutes are up, so take it out of the oven and leave it to cool before serving. Even even though it's really tempting to eat into the cheesecake as soon as it comes out of the oven, for the love of God, just don't, because it really does need to cool down. Because if you cut into it when it's still warm, it's going to go everywhere, it's going to make a mess, and it's going to make a very traumatic cheesecake experience. Happened to me last week. It was just awful. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. It's a really easy recipe, so you can make it all the time. Last week I put up a competition to win a €20 Tesco voucher, but only 3 people entered. So I'm going to let the competition run for another week. Like I said, it's for a €20 Tesco voucher. All you need to do is comment me or Facebook me or tweet me and just tell me what you'd like to see on the channel. So it's really, really easy, so you really should get involved. So next week's recipe is going to be whoever the winner, like whatever they suggested. That's what's going to be on next week. So make sure you enter, and I'll see you again next week. So eat well, be well, and enjoy your cheesecake.